Hey, Dan Beagleman here. In this video, I'll show you how to play Crossroads as recorded by Cream in 1968 at the Winterland Ballroom in San Francisco. The song appeared on Cream's third album, Wheels of Fire, which was a double album. It had a studio album, and then it had a live album with 4 tracks, and this is the first track, or the opening track, of that live album. Crossroads is built on the 12-bar blues platform, the 1-4-5 pattern. And there's 2 things to see about that regarding this particular song. The layout changes primarily at the second measure. I'll show you what I mean. Let's say you take a basic 12-bar blues, and a common cycle or common pattern is it goes to the 1 chord 4 times, or 4 bars of the 1 chord, 2 bars of the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord, 5, 4, 1. All right, so here's your basic 12-bar blues layout, a standard 12-bar blues layout, starting with the 1 chord for 4 bars. 4 chord, 1 chord, 5, 4, 1. Right, standard. So Crossroads basically follows that layout or that cycle for the intro and the solos, but on the verses it goes right to the 4 chord for bar 2 and then returns for bar 3 to the 1 chord. So on the verses, again, this is not exactly what Eric Clapton played, but I'm just showing you the basic layout, the difference between the intros, solos, and the verses. So on the verse, it's the 1 chord, right to the 4 chord, and back to the 1 chord. Again, 4 chord, 1, 5, 4, and 1. So again, the difference is, again, in the layout on the verse is that it goes to the 4 chord right on the second measure and then returns for the third measure to the 1 chord again, where on the intro and the solos it stays on the 1 chord. Although I think on 1 or 2 of the solo sections, in the second solo part, Jack Bruce, again, nobody's playing chords on the song, it's just a trio, so Jack Bruce, the bass player, is implying the chord changes, and sometimes he's playing 1, 1, 1, 1, then 4, and sometimes he's playing 1, 4, 1, 1, and then 4. So that's kind of just a random thing that's happening. It's not really specific. Okay, obviously the iconic riff that everybody recognizes for Crossroads is this. Right? On the intro, as I said, it's the 1 chord 4 times, so Eric Clapton plays this riff 4 times. Right, and he goes to the 4 chord. Although he plays like something with a D7th here. But just again, the basic layout, just to get through the tune, you play the riff 4 times. Right, then we'll go into the 4 chord. You want to get Chuck Berry kind of rhythm. Your 5 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord playing the riff again. Okay, and also sometimes Eric Clapton, when he plays that A note on string 3, so he'll play the 3rd, which is on the 2nd string. So, basically, you can see it's coming right from your A chord. So sometimes he's playing. So, playing like a double stop over there. And also, as I mentioned about, since this riff only happens on the 1 chord, there are some blues tunes where like that signature riff or the signature riff of the song can be played on all 12 measures. For example, it's a Little Richard, Lucille. Okay, I think it's in the key of C, right? Here's the basic riff for that. And then when the 4 chord comes in, it continues the riff, just, up fourth. 1 chord, 5, 4, 1. So on a song like that, this signature recognizable riff is played on all 12 measures and, played on the 1, 4, and 5 chords. But again, back to Crossroads, that signature riff is only played on the 1 chord when the 1 chord appears. Again, and that's for the intro and the solos. On the verses, where it goes 1, 4, 1, 1, the first 2 measures, Eric Clapton does not play the riff because he's singing. And Crossroads, being a very common thing in blues, is what they refer to as a kind of a call response, where there's a lyric sung for 2 bars, then on the bars 3 and 4 is kind of answered with some kind of guitar riff or line or something like that, which happens on Crossroads. So again, if you look at this now for Crossroads, when the verses come in, he's going to sing, "I went down to the crossroads, fell down on my knees." And now at the 3rd bar and the 4th bar, he answers that lyric with this riff. And now bar 5 and 6 goes to the 4 chord. He's singing, not playing that riff. And then the riff answers. 5 chord, 4, again singing and then answering with the riff. On the verses, that riff is played on bars 3, 4, 7, 8, 11, and 12. 1 and 2, he's playing this, the sort of Chuck Berry rhythm. And then the riff. 4 chord. Answer with the riff. 5 chord. 4 chord. Answer with the riff. Right? So that's the clear distinction between the intro and the solo sections, and then on the verses, and exactly where you place that riff. Okay? So just something to pay attention to. Now, as to soloing over Crossroads, the solos are built on 4 primary scales: the minor pentatonic, the minor blues scale, the major pentatonic, and the major blues scale. The minor pentatonic scale is probably, everybody knows this one, I assume that you would. The minor pentatonic scale is your basic go-to scale for rock, blues, Position 5, here's your A, and the song is in the key of A, so here's your A minor pentatonic scale. It's a 5-tone scale, then repeated an octave, and 2 notes of the 3rd octave. And, without moving your hand, staying in that one position, you can play that scale in 2 octaves and then the first 2 notes of the 3rd octave. So again, here's the A minor pentatonic scale. And if you add the note that's a passing tone between the 4th and the 5th of the key, sometimes people call it the blues note, it turns it into a 6-tone scale, which is a blues scale. So here's an A minor blues scale. And that note between the 3rd and 4th tones of the minor pentatonic scale, you get that passing tone from the D to the E. So here's an A minor blues scale. Okay, so A minor pentatonic scale, A minor blues scale, and I'm in the 5th position, and of course you can just take that up an octave and play that in the 17th position, and with those 2 you have a lot to work with. There's also the A major pentatonic scale, also a 5-tone scale, and here's the A major pentatonic scale. I'll play this in the 2nd position. It's the same fingering actually, and it looks like you can also look at it as an F sharp minor pentatonic scale because they're relative major minor. So here's A major pentatonic scale, position 2. Okay, and if I add that extra passing tone, in this case it's going to be a C natural, and it's going to connect the second and third tone of the pentatonic scale, the major pentatonic scale. Okay, and that's position 2. I can also play that an octave higher in position 14. So those 4 scales, in each one in 2 positions. A minor pentatonic scale, position 5. A minor pentatonic scale, position 17. A minor blues scale, position 5. A minor blues scale, position 17. A major pentatonic scale, position 2. A major pentatonic scale, position 14. And A major blues scale, position 2. And A major blues scale, position 14. Okay. Now, again, as I mentioned, Crossroads has 2 solo sections. The first guitar solo section is 2 cycles of the 12-bar blues pattern. So Eric Clapton is playing over 2 cycles and then returns to the verse. That first guitar solo section covers 2 12-bar blues cycles, and Eric Clapton really mixes things up. He starts off actually in the A major pentatonic scale in position 2, and he's kind of moving around the neck quite a bit for those 2 12-bar blues cycles. For the second solo section, the difference is that it's over 3 12-bar blues cycles. The first one is 2, the second solo is over 3, and an important distinction on that is the entire second guitar solo section, which covers those covers 3 blues cycles, is all in position 17, basically working off of the A minor pentatonic scale. So 2 clear distinctions. Again, the first guitar solo section mixes up A major pentatonic, A minor pentatonic, and moving around the neck. The second solo section, as I said, all in position 17 and all based on the A minor pentatonic scale. Check out my video on pentatonic and blues scales where I do a deep dive on the pentatonic and blues scales, both major and minor, and it's a very, very in-depth video where I'll cover vertical patterns, horizontal patterns, and lots of examples of how to use the major and minor pentatonic scales and the major and minor blues scales, and the link is in the description. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please leave any questions or comments in the comment section below. I'm Dan Beagleman, and that's Crossroads by Cream from the Wheels of Fire album. Have a nice day.